What's going on, guys? It's Ricky with TechWhat Solutions. I can't thank you guys enough for, again, putting time aside from your Sunday and joining us for another weekly recap on last week's trading, what to expect for this upcoming week. I think this is going to be one of the most interesting, if not it has already been one of the most interesting years so far, with the growth that we've seen, with the growth within our group, as well as within the growth within our economy. We've been talking about a correction, being present or being imminent within our economy for at least the past, 2 to 3 years. Eventually, there's always somewhat of a correction within our economy, and expecting that and preparing for that, is smart. But how do you prepare for that? And what is it that you need to do to prepare? And that's going to be the series of videos that we're going to be uploading this upcoming week, as in our videos for helpful videos for investors and those that are actually just starting out and have a couple $100. I think one of the best things that I would suggest within the current position that we are within our economy is to focus and learn as much as we can. And the reason I say that is because when there's these contractions within our economy, these falls, just like day trading, just like when there's huge falls within these penny stocks, that's when we see the most potential. And like we know, like many investors always say, you never lose until you sell. And for those that lose, right, that are selling during this contraction and this correction within our economy, it is our job to identify the potential and see that there is always an expansion within our economy. It always goes back to where it was, a resistance point, right? We always want to buy at the support, sell at the resistance. The reason I haven't bought my third investment property was because I haven't found the deal that I've been looking for. For the other two houses that I own, I bought them because, I bought them either as a foreclosure, I got them because they're an amazing, just purchase price or price point where the overall value that they are now, I'm seeing, over 20% return. And I only buy houses when I know I'm going to make money. I only buy cars when I know I'm going to make money. I only buy stocks when I know I'm going to make money. And for this time where, or this current point where we are in our economy and in the year, and talking about, all this just news outlets, kind of just hyping up World War III with what's been going on, in Syria. I want to make sure that you guys as investors and as, just smart individuals, to educate yourselves as much as you can. And again, one of the things that I talk about most is always be open-minded, but never let anyone else's opinion influence your decision. And I really mean that in all aspects of business, even when it comes to news. There's nothing wrong with listening and reading about different news articles, different news outlets, and what the information they're sharing, as long as you, as the investor, as the educated individual, can make the right decision. And that is, never go based on someone else's opinion. You always want to make sure that within you find that, all right, this actually makes sense, that there's different sources that add up. And what I mean by that is, the only reason that we're talking about this is I usually don't like to talk about, news, because we're day traders. But it's been something that consistently has been going on within our, group chat within TechWhat Solutions, and it's scaring some people. And that's totally understandable because that is what everyone else is doing. I'm going to jump on right now to the live stream within this live stream, because I don't have access to the chat right now, and see if I can actually see what you guys are talking about. So if you guys know anything about our Sunday Stock Talk, we pretty much recap on last week's trading. Then I perform some technical analysis, and then at the very end, for the last 10 minutes, I'll try to answer your guys' questions. I do want to apologize, and I do want to thank you guys for all the time again that you guys put aside for this group and that you guys gave me. I can't, and I keep expressing this, but I believe it's like a very cliche, but I can't thank you guys enough for all the support that you guys have been giving me. From that little just mishap that we had, I feel like we've grown so much as a group. You guys expressing, putting your heart out there for me, and letting me know how much this group means to you. It's a beautiful thing, and I can't, there's no word that I can say to thank you guys enough. I've been really trying to dedicate last week to respond to as many just messages and emails that I could. I think I spent a couple hours yesterday. I spent a couple hours the day before just trying to catch up on all these emails. But again, I have a bunch of things going on, so I do apologize if I haven't gotten to you. I've gone over, nearly, I think, 300 to 400 messages altogether and try to respond to all of them. And for a single individual, I find that very difficult for myself to do. So there were a couple questions that were being talked about. I'm not sure if it was on our last Sunday's Stock Talk. Actually, it was during our Friday recap. And I responded, but it said live chat has ended, so it didn't actually go through. But it talked about my earnings for 2016. And they wanted to ask, what's my growth and all that. And although that's personal information, I don't mind sharing all that with you as long as you guys respect certain boundaries, right? If I talk about it, I want to make sure that I don't just talk about how much money I make or anything like that. There's always a purpose to my videos. And I just haven't created a purpose for me talking about how much money I made. And once I do, then I'll develop a video specifically for that in effort to make sure that it's not just a video about me talking about how much I made, but that there's a purpose for my viewers to benefit from me. Because I'm not going to be talking about anything that I don't see the benefit in or wasting my time in that. I'm gonna look at a couple questions. And there's a couple people that well, there's this one guy. I'm just gonna. All right. And just asked me that question. That asked me that question last week was actually one that was just on our live chat. And overall, I really don't like being forced to do anything, especially when it's not really that you want to like really learn from what it is that I'm doing, but for that specific individual, I feel just wanted me to prove something to him. And again, like I said, no matter what it is, I'm not here to prove myself to anyone, right? I'm here to share what I do good and what I do bad in an effort to promote growth, right? And I feel that these individuals aren't there to really like, oh, okay, you see, this is how much you make. Okay, great, thank you for that video. It would most likely be, okay, that you made that video, now, show improvement. And getting all into that, I really don't like people like that. So let me go ahead and just push away from that, and I'm gonna start answering some of your questions. I'm gonna say what's up to some of you just because a lot of you guys are messaging, and I wanna make sure that, I get to all of you. So Toby Bob says, say my name. So there you go. And then, yeah, CIE, so Matthew Reynolds, I see that. Do you trade based on news or based on how patterns react after news? Well, based on either momentum or technical analysis. I don't really trade based on news. Only when I do trade based on news, it's swing trading. I do sometimes, news-based trades when it's like momentum, and that's usually what helps out with penny stocks, but I don't really read too much about these specific penny stocks. I go based on more momentum and then technical analysis. So Rockland Films says some people aren't obligated to tell that. Ricky is here to share his experience or trails and tribulations. So I totally agree on that. And we're always going to get those people that no matter how successful you are, or no matter what it is that you're doing. But when it comes to like trading penny stocks, I hope you guys know that trading penny stocks isn't my only source of income. It can be, and I do just fine with it, but I don't make an enormous amount when it comes to trading. If you guys calculate how much I make on average a day with the within the 12 months, it's not an enormous amount, and it's an amount that usually pays for my expenses and helps me qualify for a little bit more when it comes to buying my investment properties and stuff like that. So again, I try to be as open as I can, but I want you guys to respect me as an individual, as a person, that if I share everything about me, I'm willing to a certain extent, but then it becomes kind of uncomfortable where I feel like I have no privacy. And me as a new person that's sharing my life with you guys, I want to feel comfortable. I want this to be like a give and take, right? And I hope you guys can respect that. Greenlight says best practices is our, and then you guys can read that. Have you looked at, so I'll be talking about technical analysis within the next I'm going to first talk about last week's trading, and then I'm going to talk about it in a little bit, but not just yet. So don't do any suggestions yet because I won't really perform them right now. So Bobby Jenkins says, how old was I when I started investing? When did I get that aha moment when you realize you could become profitable? I think, and if you guys saw my video about like making $3,500 or losing the $3,500, I apologize. You guys probably would have noticed that a lot of people would have given up at that point. They lost $3,500 at, I was like my transition from 14 to 15 years old. And that's a lot of money, especially for a 14-year-old. And for someone to not give up and continue going for it, I think when I went back into it the second time, I came in more with a plan, and I actually didn't go based on anyone else's opinion. I learned that that wasn't, a successful best practice. So then that's when I started trying to educate myself instead of from learning and making mistakes from other people. I always knew there were margins of profit because it's a business and it's a market. And I was just aware of that at a very early age, that it was always a profitable market, but it was very risky, especially for those that weren't very well educated. And as a 14-year-old, I didn't have much to go based off of. No one in my family ever traded penny stocks, at least not that I know of. And it was really just by trial and error and trying to, learn from the internet as much as I could. And that's really what ended up happening. But yeah, have you experienced any issues with Robinhood transferring profit? No, I have not. Rockland Films, I have not had any issues from Robinhood to my bank account to Robinhood. Usually works pretty well for me. How would you say is the best way for scanning stocks based on your personal trading? When I don't necessarily scan for stocks, but something I do look for as a certain indicator is volume. And I know volume, especially when it correlates to momentum, and upward momentum is always good. So always the stocks that I talk about during pre-market hours are based on volume, meaning that they see a healthy, if not a greater amount than their average volume. And even though if it might be in the red or in the green, usually that's showing that it's an active stock and it's a healthy stock within that day. And that's usually what helps me filter out certain stocks that I had, the night before. An effort for me to actually identify, support, resistance, identify the potential, and then decide to jump into it. Who did you personally learn trading from? And are you still mentored? No, I actually, I wasn't mentored by anyone, but I was very just amazed by certain individuals that, just like the Wolf of Wall Street, like that whole story. Although he did it in a very shady way, the way that it started is really what excited me about it. That it definitely is a market that could be profitable, but obviously when you do something, an effort just to benefit yourself and to hurt others, you're not going to be able to do that successfully for a really long time. And understanding that, it's just like, well, I understand that it's a profitable market, but I have to do it the right way. So I just started trying to learn as much as I could. Toby Buff says, Ricky, I'm your neighbor. Okay. What's your best way to scan for penny stocks? Okay, I think I already did that. Do I shout out the stocks that you're buying? So if you guys don't know how TechBud Solutions works, the link is provided for you down below to ask to join within our Facebook platform. And then within that link, once you get accepted, it's the top pinned post that allows you access to our group chats. One of the main group chats that I use for our pre-market movers is the pre-market group chat. And it's one that I'll show you guys in just a couple minutes, but it's pretty much where I shout out or just post a series of 10 to 15 pre-market movers, and then within that I talk about either 3 to 5 stocks that I'm going to be watching within that day. Doesn't mean that I'm suggesting anyone for you guys to trade, and I always post that, but it's just fun to let you guys know kind of what I'm keeping my eye on. And then I talk about after the market opens, I don't really post on pre-market movers anymore. I move on to the main group chat, and then that is where I post support, resistance, and where I'm buying in, where I plan on selling, and any questions that you guys might have. Before making a profit, and how many years have you been trading, if you don't mind me? So it's been off and on, right? Especially after that big loss I took. But right after that $3,500 loss, a lot of people say, yeah, it's like, oh, I'm just paying for the education and stuff like that. I think that's a very, that's a way that you can look at it, but it's not a way that I wanted to look at it. When I took that loss, it's upsetting and it kind of discourages you. But I came back strong, and I came in with a way smaller account. And I really started to test the waters. I started doing that simulation trading, and within that simulation trading, I started seeing growth. So it wasn't actually with real money. And then I started implementing and slowly started funding my account to accommodate as I was growing as an investor. And that was really just it. So T recently says, is there a website? Because I feel like this should be a lot bigger than what it is, because I feel like all this information, or this is all great information, Ricky. So T recently, we are working on our account-based platform, and it's going to be pretty much our own website, like TechBud Solutions. That's what the website's going to be called. It's going to hopefully launch with the beta platform. May 1st, and then within that we have select amount of users that we're going to ask to subscribe, and then they're going to have to give us feedback. Once we feel like we have a well-developed platform, we'll make it public and live for everyone. But that is later down the road. But definitely, we've been working on this platform for quite some time, and it's definitely, I want to make sure that a platform that's going to be useful for you guys more than a group chat, and definitely going to benefit you guys in a way better way. But we do have a lot of things planned for TechBud Solutions, and I have a team now that I deeply believe in, that they can completely express and develop the platform that I'm trying to design and develop. So thank you for that. We big in the bank. CIE, some of the links in the group aren't working. We'll still be able to. So I just read a couple of the last messages, so thank you for that, guys. So your mom likes, and then that's his channel, says you forgot to make a video about taxes. I did not. I'm actually still working on that, but I actually wanted to speak to an advisor on different ways to write off certain things, to be creative, because I don't want it just to be another video on how to do your taxes, because you can actually just speak to an advisor and they can tell you that. I wanted to kind of build a little bit more quality information that can be a little bit more beneficial for my viewers. All right, so I'm gonna stop answering some questions. I guess I did that first before the other thing. All right. So you guys are all asking me questions, and I really do appreciate it, but I really have to get to the technical analysis and talk about last week's trading. So pretty much last week went pretty well. On Friday, if you guys saw, we saw that huge shift overnight because of what happened in Syria. If you guys are aware of that, news is everywhere, right? There was a huge rise again in gold. So gold ETFs that are bull went up, and bear ETFs for gold went down. So JNUG and NUGT went up, JDST went down. And what does that mean? A lot of you guys jumped into JNUG and NUGT because you're like, okay, well, it's going up. But you have to understand, because of all this hype, it's going up, but it's going to end up peaking out. So what has actually the most potential? And that's what has to separate you as an investor, to be able to identify that potential. Although everyone's jumping into JNUG and NUGT, you as a day trader and as investors should identify that actually JDST has the most potential because it's gone down the most, meaning that within that day, it has a higher margin for profit. If NUGT and JNUG is already at its resistance point, there's not much profit you can actually see or actually expect, right? So this upcoming week, especially with all the news that's coming out with like what happened with Donald Trump's decision, I haven't read enough, and I don't. This is why right now at this moment I don't want to share or talk about any information, because I don't truly know, and I'm going to be reading a little bit more tonight, but I've been extremely busy, and again, I don't want to say anything that I'm not 100% about, but pretty much what happened last week, what did we do good? 2 weeks ago, I talked about getting in and getting out a little bit too early. So last week, I tried to be a little bit more open, a little bit more risky, and it didn't do too well. I didn't do too well, and I kind of expected it, and I don't want that to be the reason that I stop and just go back to being and locking my profits at 3 to 5% just because it's not moving much. But it's definitely something that I want to continue to try to see if I can see that potential. So me as an investor, Oh, someone's talking about the puppies in the background. Those actually aren't mine. They're my neighbors. I don't have animals except for my roommates. Yeah, just kidding. But overall, pretty much, it was very difficult for me to hold on to these stocks, especially with these lower penny stocks. If you guys have seen anything that I've been trading with in the past couple of weeks, if not months, I've been trying to stay away more from the true penny stocks. Anything lower than $1, I'm trying to kind of push away from as my account is growing. I'm starting to move into a little bit more of the $4,000 to $5,000 investments per trade, or risk per trade, right? I'm usually at the $3,000 mark, but with these like true penny stocks, although yeah, it is a little bit more profitable at times, it is a lot more risky. And I think as my account continues to grow to be, moving to this new type of more experienced trader as I would like to move to, I need to understand that I kind of need to push away from these, true small cap penny stocks and move into something that can actually accommodate the type of account that I have. Again, in no way do I think I have a large account, but now moving in a little bit over $30,000, I see myself moving a lot more money into my bank account, it holding there. So I think, and all that's great, right? I want to make sure that as a trader, so now I think I'm going to be risking a little bit more within the days to come. And don't think I forgot about any of the challenges and stuff like that. There's still that $1,000 to $20,000 challenge that I'm going to be talking about this week, and then the challenge that I'm going to be doing with my girlfriend, and actually my little sister's going to be doing it as well, and she's someone that's under the age of 18. So it's something that I think that can be very helpful for my viewers, and for them as well, right? Just being exposed to this market of investing. And although it might not be for them, it's just something that they can learn and kind of take from. Definitely no way do I want to see any loss for them. So I think I can properly guide them in the right direction. Okay, I'm going to talk about the PD2 rule later. So we'll talk about that later, but within my video, where I'll do a live stream and kind of talk back and forth with you guys. Pretty much last week, and again, the biggest thing, I had a solid week. I was extremely busy with everything that I had going on with, catching up with school, and with the different sales that I was going through. I sold my Subaru WRX, and now we're looking for another vehicle. I still have my 2015 Z06, but now I'm thinking of looking into bike. If you guys have seen any of my stories in social media with my Instagram, the link is provided for you down below if you guys want to follow. But I've been posting a lot of my roommates, with their bikes, and me and my Z06. I kind of feel like I'm like four-wheeling, right? Because they can do anything, and although I'm pretty safe, I kind of want to hang around with them. So that might be something with mobile investments that I may be trying to buy and sell. But yeah, that's pretty much it overall. I'm really excited for this upcoming week. I do want to make sure that you guys know there's 160 of you that are watching right now, and I think one of the biggest things that if you guys take anything from this video is to understand that if you feel that you are chasing certain stocks, or chasing prices, or chasing stocks, and it's not going the way that you think, in no way do I want you guys to continue to do that. I think that's one of the worst things that you guys can do, especially when it's not working in your favor. One of the things that I would recommend is, especially because of all this news that's going to be coming out, there's going to be a lot of hype, there's going to be a lot of news, there's going to be a lot of shifts in our economy, in our prices for the stocks that we're trading, and that's totally like that's something that you should expect. So what I would suggest is to take a step back, not be so quick to pull the trigger if you don't truly identify it as a good buy. Just if you guys can do that for me, and do it for yourself. There's going to be a lot of hype and certain things that I think I just don't want you guys to be taken advantage of when it comes to using another platform and jumping into something that you guys truly don't know how to identify as a as a good buy or as a good sell. So what I would suggest is to only trade what you're comfortable with, and to cut losses quick, especially with all the news that's coming in. I feel like, with a lot of stocks that we've been talking about in trading, like DRYS, FNCX, what is it, CERU, they've been taking huge, shifts down. DRYS was just trading last week at like $1.40 and is now, below, I think, 60 cents. It's been ridiculous. It's been something that is very unexpected. we have to stick to our plan, cut losses short, buy at supports, a little bit above support, sell at resistance, and stay very systematic. And I think that, by doing that, you'll be more successful. And I want to make sure none of you guys get discouraged during a period where you guys might identify the most potential, and that's during these contractions, because they're at support levels, and that's definitely where I think as investors we can benefit the most in the long run. And that's really just it. So that was pretty much last week's trading. Now, whoa, there's a lot of messages that just went through. All right, I'm gonna start taking suggestions for technical analysis. Whoa, my dad was calling. So I'm going to start taking suggestions for technical analysis. So I'm going to perform 4 technical analysis. If you guys want to, start posting it down there, and then I'll go ahead and do it. Go. So I'll be talking for the meanwhile. All right, CIE is one that I see. Actually, if it was posted, try not to post it twice. All right, I'm going to write it down. Wow, you guys are crazy. You guys are going super quick. It's faster than I can write. Gotta answer the old man, Junior says. All right, I'll just do GIGL, CIE, CCCR, I think AUPH is definitely a good one, so we'll talk about that one. I already got CCCR. I don't like UCRM. I think it's being too hyped. It's actually within our group as well. So I've been deleting some posts that I've seen. A lot of members been constantly just posting, and I feel I definitely don't want to overwhelm members and make it overwhelming for them. But someone's saying Ricky, wait. But I'm gonna start searching them up within my Fidelity platform. All right, I don't know if you guys saw my trade with one of my recaps last week, but Snap, when it bounced at that 20 support, the $20 support, and ended up hitting, I believe, or was it the 21 support? We're gonna have to double check, but I believe it was that 20 support and is now at that 21 resistance. So Pop Tokyo says, hey man, just want to let you know that you're doing a great job. I really appreciate your support, man. I think CIE, and that's definitely one. It's kind of sketchy with how our economy is doing right now, or is being spoken about, right? But it's one that I'm definitely keeping my eye on for it to be like a good long-term hold. But I just think it's been holding too close to the support recently. So I'm just gonna change this real quick. The frequency needs to be changed. Scott Gilmore says, "Go Devils." So yes, I do go to ASU. Oh yeah, CIE. I have seen this about CIE with that strong bounce at 43 cents, and has consistently been seen is seeing momentum. Dijon says, "Ricky, congrats on 8K subs." Did I really hit 8K today? Oh my god, I did. I actually didn't know that. I hit 8,000 subscribers. I don't know if you guys, how long have you guys been watching TechBud Solutions? But if you guys know anything about us, January, for 2017, we're at 1,000 subscribers. So April 9th, and we're at 8,000. That's unbelievable. That's huge. I can't thank you guys enough. What is that, like an 800% return? That's pretty solid. So thank you. I mean, if you guys haven't done so already, we'd appreciate the subscription and the thumbs up. But if you guys don't want to, you guys definitely don't have to. But You guys were amazing. I really didn't really think that this was really going to happen. It's just something that, again, just talking about what it is that I do, so I can't thank you guys enough. But I have CIE pulled up. I have Snap. I have, let me move GI, GL. Then we have AUPH. And then CCR. Let's not forget about that before you guys scream at me. And you guys are I don't want to like this isn't to like be like discouraging or anything like that, but you guys are crazy. There's a lot of people that like comment. There's always haters on my YouTube channel, and there's always going to be, right? It's one of the first things after speaking to my friends at YouTube. Like, you know, just avoid them and ignore them. But you guys are crazy. You guys like message them back and oh my God, I read some of the comments, and you guys and say that like, you know, you guys are crazy. But you guys really respond to them really aggressively, and they end up not commenting back because they really see how strong, you know, my following is, and it's ridiculous. It's something that, you know, like all my buddies, like the ones at YouTube, like Bros and Tanner, and all the ones that know about YouTube pretty well, they say based on like my following and my subscription and the views that I get and all that, that you can see that I have a really strong following. I've always talked about that, and I've always been very, you know, passionate and so proud that I have such an amazing, just crowd of individuals that I know are super motivated. And, you know, I guess I'm just kind of the voice for you guys, but you guys are the ones that really do all the work. I'm here just to provide the platform, but you guys are definitely the ones that do everything. Yeah. So Adonios Prime says you should do an annual event where we all link and network. Definitely something cool. So let's go ahead and get started. Let me go ahead and start sharing my screen. So I have CCC, RCIE, GIGL, and AUPH. And again, I'm going to start talking about just the support, resistance, what I believe how the company is doing and might be going, but in no way do I, you know, suggest for any of you guys to follow anything that it is that I'm doing. If anything, you know, with the whole purpose of my videos are to talk about the best practices, mistakes, and just based on my experience, I'm going to talk about my whole thought process with this one. Something that I can tell right away is just based on where I previously was, seeing, you know, consistent just downward trend and seeing this huge spike. CCCR, although it's never been one that I've, you know, heard about or seen, it looks like this week I did see it within our group chat, and I did see it constantly talked about, but I think it was obviously because of this huge day. So it came out in a lot of people's scanners, and it's been one that is now seeing a downward trend. So I would suggest, based on this would be a possible good one to catch as a day trade. In no way do I suggest, no matter what the reason is, to hold this one. And the reason why is, I think, pretty obvious, but of the potential that it has to drop down to $1. So going from, you know, the current price of $2.36 down to, you know, $1, you're losing more than 50% of your value of your account. So I want to make sure that we identify the support here at 176, or resistance here at about $2.50. Truly at $2.40, as you know, it couldn't break above that. Now it's showing somewhat of a support right here around the 225 or 220 area. But it really comes down to how it opens pre-market hours. This is one that I'll add to my watch list and see how it does. But it has another support here at $1 and, you know, 75, you know, 70, what is that, 80 cents really, but 75 at the low point. And it bounced pretty well. So what I would say, especially with CCCR and how I see it doing, is identify these supports, identify the resistance, and set up a plan. So what would be my plan for this one? If I see during pre-market hours that CCCR holds above 180 during pre-market hours and shows signs of bounces at 180 and solid bounces, not like little ones showing that it's about to break once the market opens, but solid ones like these, then what I would suggest, or what I would probably do, is buy in at $1 at 80 cents or above. You know, once my EMA line shows signs of upward momentum, cut my losses anything below 175 because it's only showing signs that it's going to see a downward trend So cutting losses short, anything below 175, so maybe at 174.99. Understanding that 180 is the support and 220 is a resistance. Understanding that 220 is a resistance, follow with the trailing stop loss, and then set your limit order to sell around 220 or near 220 to lock in your profits. If it ends up breaking above 240 and you want to squeeze in another 30 cents, then again, just make sure you identify the support, the resistance, cut losses right below the support, and just try to minimize loss, especially with one that's probably going to see a huge amount of volume for this one. But this is definitely one that I'm going to be adding to my watch list, and I'm going to write it down right now, just because of how it's playing out. So this one's probably going to be one that's going to show a lot of volume. That's pretty risky, especially for the price point that it's at. And what I mean by that is, like, look at it, 1 month, and it's been trading consistently just above $1 and sees this huge spike. In no way does this mean for it to be a hold. Now with CIE, this is one that's had a solid bounce. I'm going to go a little bit further back. It was constantly on a downward trend, or consistently on a downward trend from the resistance that it hit at like 56 cents. And now it's trading at 68 cents. So we're going to have to go a little bit further back to see where the resistance point is. And it's going to be somewhat difficult because it's trading so high based on where it's previously been trading. That's going to be difficult to identify. And this is where I like TD Ameritrade a little bit better because the candlesticks don't get all messed up. But overall, it's showing the SMA here at 50 cents. And again, this stock being a stock that's less than $1, it's just showing red flags for me. I would say it's probably seen a lot of hype. It is. When I searched up CIE, it gave me that little delisting notice, meaning that it hasn't met NASDAQ requirements. So this is definitely not one that I would suggest to hold. It did see a really green day. Again, this was Friday. Does that mean that it's going to hold? No, because it had this bounce at 43 cents and it went up a little bit. And then Friday had really green day, a really solid day. Don't let one day kind of determine how it's going to play out. But we see a resistance, right? Pre-market hours, it did even better. Overall, and this is one that I think is really just based on volume, unless there's some news out there. But where are we most likely going to see a bounce? Where 60 cents seems to be somewhat of a support, and the reason I say that was it was somewhat of a difficult pinpoint or a critical point for it to surpass. And when it did, ended up hitting highs of 70, and then is most likely coming back down. Right, it hit a support here at 63, and is trading between that area. But this is one that's just all over the place, and I really don't like that. It was consistently seeing a downward trend with no, solid spikes. If you see the RSI indicator, it shows that it's overvalued or overbought. Therefore, we're most likely going to see a downward trend. So this is definitely one that you're going to want to look into before deciding to jump in or out. This is one that could be a good momentum stock, as this little area right here saw a pretty solid spike up. Just make sure you cut losses quick, and if you can catch it, if it breaks above 70 and it starts just rising like crazy, then set up a plan. Try to get in at 70 and cut losses if it goes below it, and try to ride it up and lock in profits realistically at anything that you might identify later as a resistance, maybe 77 cents, 80 cents, or anything like that. If I do remember correctly, when trading CIE did have a really strong support at 80 cents or 82 cents. So that might be the next resistance area. But again, yeah, that's pretty much it. So now for GIGL. Let's go ahead and see. Right now, within these past 2 days, as you can see, if you guys saw how to read candlesticks within one of my videos of helpful, within my helpful playlist videos, you guys see that this one definitely does not show signs of a lot of volume. This is one that I've seen within our group being talked about quite often. But again, trading at 20 cents doesn't show very good signs of a healthy company. It was trading at, wow, a little bit over 2 cents and is now at 25 cents. And it hit that resistance and is now coming down from that trend. It's still holding above EMA, but for how much longer, right? That's the question. This is definitely not a hold, but it looks like there was a resistance previously at about 18 cents and is now a support. We're kind of in between. And as you can see, our RSI indicator shows that it's kind of more on the overbought price than oversold price. Therefore, it's not ideally a good buy point right now. I would, if anything, wait till it gets a little bit closer to this 19 to 18 area, cut losses anything below 18, and try to just lock in, your quick 5 to 10% profit. But this is really hard to read. And again, it becomes harder to read when they're less than $1. And especially because if you lose $1 or 1 cent, I apologize, on GIGL, that's 5% already. Definitely within my account. I don't think this one's one that I can realistically trade, especially with that low volume that it has. If I'm one that owns, more than the average person, I might, drag the price down myself. And I definitely don't want to, do that. So this is just a quick support and resistance that I'm able to identify. So support more at that 19-cent area, resistance more at that 21-cent area. AUPH. So this is one that was, I don't know if you guys saw during my pre-market movers, and it's when I did my technical analysis, I called this one out. And I called this one out because of the support that it was. And this is one I might have called out within our swing trading group chat as well, but it's because of how low it actually was within the past couple of months of trading. It is somewhat at a support point, meaning that if it does break below, I believe, $6, we might see a really strong drop. It is now below EMA line, so that's not a good sign. Actually, no, it's right at the EMA line now, so it kind of bounced, and that's totally okay. But what's to come for AUPH? Let me change the frequency so we can see a little bit clearer. But we can see a solid support now right here at about, about $7. Realistically, $7 is a pretty good support area. Resistance is at around 750, and that was actually after market hours and pre-market hours. So what does that mean? I actually think it might be a little too high for where it's at right now, unless we see real high volume or steady volume. I would, in a sense, wait till it gets buying in at $7 is not necessarily a bad idea as long as during pre-market hours on Monday it holds. And when the market opens that it holds, and it holds above EMA, because buying at $7 and trying to sell at 750 definitely does not seem unrealistic based on the previous trend that it had, but just see this huge spike up that it had, right? It obviously saw a huge increase in volume, meaning that it might, once it does break below $7, see a huge increase in volume as well, but on a downward trend, meaning that you want to cut your losses anything below $7 to not ride it all the way down. So I would actually, feel a little bit more comfortable myself as a conservative trader to buy in a little bit closer to the support at $6.50 to $6.60 when it goes above EMA, as it did right here. And if it ends up seeing just a steady rise of 3 to 5%, then just sell. There's nothing wrong with that, especially if you choose to get in at above $7. Just know your plan can be get in above EMA, so anything above 705, 710 above EMA. Support is at $7, so cut losses anything below $7 to minimize loss, and resistance is either at 730 or 750 if you feel a little bit more risky. But the reason I say 730 is because this peak that it had. But definitely signs of potential. Really comes down to how you want to play out. Within these past 5 days, overall, if you got in at 650, based on the past 5 days, only 1 out of the 5 days did it ever really hold below 690 or trade below 690. So yeah, that's really just it. It's right in between right now, and that's what I would think, right, for the RSI indicator, because it's at that $7 mark, meaning that 750 would most likely put it closer to this oversold price, overbought price. I apologize, and 650 as a oversold price, meaning that would be a better buy point. But again, understand your supports, your resistance, and trade according to. Cut losses short and set up a plan every single time you guys trade, and don't let your emotions get into play. And then I do want to ask you guys, if you guys can, I do have this website that I started for one of my companies. It's Milky Assets. I'm going to try to see if I can put the link down below. I really just want some feedback on how I can improve it. It's really just for my property management company that I have. If you guys have any suggestions or anything like that, you guys can sign up. If not, I do have like my about info or about page, and you can actually just reach out to me and give me any suggestions or anything that you guys would recommend as being potential just people that would want to live in one of my houses and what you guys would appreciate more. So but that is it. That is my technical analysis. I'm going to jump back in and see all the comments that you guys have. Whoa. There's a lot of comments going through. All right. So one of the questions is why is the name Milky Assets? Well, if I told you, then no, just kidding. Low key assets. But it came up. I thought it was a catchy kind of just like fun name, kind of like Tech Bud, right? It's something that I like saying and stuff like that. But that's really just it. There's not really a huge reason behind it that I can really share with you guys. But man, you guys are all over that name. But it's intriguing you guys, so I guess that's a good thing. But overall, um, okay, let's kind of stay on track. So again, thank you guys again so much for the support. We talked about last week's trading. I performed some technical analysis, and now I'll try to answer as many questions as I can from you guys. But overall, so upcoming for anything from this video. If you go based on someone else's opinion, I keep talking about that, but it's because I really don't feel like a lot of you guys are really grasping this whole idea of investing. This whole thing is that you have to do your own research, you have to do your own work, and you have to put in your own hours. And by doing that is you have to first know how to invest. And how do you do that? Well, you need to learn. And how do you learn is, well, you read up on some stuff, you do simulation trading, so no real risk, which is paper trading. Get your feet wet, learn from your best practices, learn from your mistakes, share them with a group, and that's the whole point of TechBud Solutions. So once you learn, start funding your account. It doesn't mean that you need to trade it, but just kind of use it as like a savings account. Start slowly funding it, and eventually, you'll have like $1,000 to whatever $1,000 that you want within this account that can accommodate the type of trader you are. Now, setting up this whole plan, you know how to trade. You have experience of trading that has showed you signs of being successful with actually no risk, and now you have an account that can accommodate the type of investor you are. And I think those 3 steps, when really investing, is going to be one of the best ways for you to succeed. So, well, I'm going to put the link to the website in just a bit, so I'm going to try to share. I'm going to or answering some of your guys' questions. So let me go ahead and do that. I want to see if I can it actually doesn't let me post anything within what's it called, any link right now in the description, but let me just start answering your questions, and I'll see if I can post the link in just a bit. What do you think is going to happen, Jay, and NUGT in the morning? Do you know any news? Okay, so I think now there's going to be this upcoming week because of all the hype and news that's going to be out there. We're going to see huge shifts in gold, and that's where we're going to see when NUGT and JNUG are at the low points. We'll buy into those and we'll ride those up right within that day. And when JDST is at its high points and then drops back down, then we'll buy into that. And I think with the common ETFs that we trade, identifying how to make a profit off of them instead of jumping in when everyone else is jumping in, to jump into the opposing one, the bull in a sense, instead of the bear, when our economy says to be doing very well. And the reason why is because now this company this ETF that's very low, we can ride it up rather than jump into an ETF of gold that's already at its peak, that's most likely not going to increase anymore. But again, yeah. So I am going to ask Greenlight to be a little bit more respectful. I really don't appreciate, your message. I make so Bradley Obomi says you make this look easy, and although that's good, I want to make sure it's like savings, right? Although saving money is easy, why is it so difficult for people? And I think I make that kind of just correlation very simple for you guys because although it's very easy, why do so many of us not save money? Something that I found it very easy for me to do at an early age is to save money and to stay, systematic and according to plan. And that's very difficult for some people, especially when things come up and they need to make things happen. And you don't always need, if you guys see anything that I wear or that I and stuff like that, I don't spend enormous amounts of money in anything that I choose to like do or use. A lot of people would try to say, well, look at all the cars that you have and stuff like that. Um, I buy those to sell for profit. In no way would I buy these cars if I knew that I was gonna, take a loss on them. I do ride them in a way that, or use them in a way that I can, enjoy them. But I can either break even, see a small loss, or sell them usually for a profit. But that's really just it. So although it's easy, it's an easy concept. It's very difficult because your emotions can get in the way. You start breaking rules, and just like savings, you don't see the potential or see the value in it anymore. But yeah, how do I make time for school and day trading? Well, I'm a full-time student at Arizona State University, the Polytechnic campus. Um, and I have a normal job. I run a series of other businesses, and then I day trade, and then I run tech solutions. It really comes down to I usually wake up at 5:30 or 5:50 a.m. And I go to sleep anywhere from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock, depending on what's going on. If I have a really busy day, then 3 o'clock, and um, if not, I usually fall asleep or go to sleep around 1 o'clock. But again, I have a girlfriend, and that's a whole other responsibility or her job that I really do enjoy. That I have a true blessing to have. Green light, that's crazy respect, bro. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you, man. And does Philadelphia have a better platform than the one that you are using? They do have one of their Active Trader Pro, but I don't have access to it because either you have to pay for it or you have to have a PC and have a MacBook. So M Duke says, Ricky, so say why not just buy 1,000 shares of JDST or JNUG and hold them as they sell as the price goes up. I still don't comfortable. Again, I'm a day trader. I don't really hold any true stocks lower than $15, meaning that I usually don't feel comfortable doing that. So I see more value or see more opportunity in buying and selling within the same day. And it's something that I've done consistently. And if you notice anything within the trends for JDST and JNUG, which are almost like inverse ETFs, um, you see that they bounce around at the support and resistance very often. And realistically, I don't really benefit from holding whatsoever. If anything, it's going to be a very small margin that the risk isn't going to really be worth it. Here's a super question. Whoa. So here's a super question. Do you make 8% or always are closer to 10%? So within a day, I get closer to 8% usually, on average, right? Within per trade, I don't usually see that. I usually see 3 to 5% per trade, and on average, within the whole day with the different stocks that I'm trading, um, you know, 7 to 9%. Cash account or instant account. If you guys know anything about or have seen my video about cash versus margin account, cash account or like cash is king, right? So you don't have to worry about day trades if you have enough money. So let's say you have $5,000. I would suggest rather trading with $5,000 and be able to day trade, 5 days within $1,000 increments per day, and not have to worry about day trades. Or if you want a margin account, then you get to day trade with more money but less amount within the next 5 days. So it really comes down to, would you rather trade with more money, meaning that you would see more reward within just 3 days and you might stop loss out, or would you rather, if you have enough money of $5,000 and be able to split it up into 5 days and then just see smaller returns with these smaller, just, and if you have $5,000, then you're trading $1,000 a piece. The return that you would see if you would see a 5% return would be $50 instead of trading with $5,000 and seeing with a 5% return. What would that be, like $250? So overall, it really comes down to, would you rather day trade more and see less of a return per day, or day trade less and see a higher day trade per day if you're successful. So Greenlight says, can I make a video about the differences from iPhone and Android Robinhood platforms? Let me know if you guys want to see that. I did not suggest using, or do I suggest using ShareTrader? I'm not familiar with that platform. If anything, there's a lot of people that say it's kind of shady. I would look into it. I really don't know anything about it. Like characteristics to add to my watch list. I really don't mind adding anything to my watch list as long as they're holding above $1 and they have healthy amounts of volume. But other than that, as long as they're not, getting delisted, and all I want to see is that it has a healthy amount of volume, meaning that's very active. And as long as it has that, then I add it to my watch list so I can perform technical analysis and identify potential. But that is it. So we talked about last week. We did technical analysis and answered you guys' question. So it actually went a little bit longer than expected, but that is it. I can't thank you guys enough. And again, I know I say thank you guys. I say thank you a lot, and but it's just when it really comes down to it. It's just amazing that I have such an amazing following and a group of individuals that I'm able to surround myself with every single day, and that motivate me so much. For every morning to, even though I'm waking up at 5:30 or 5:50 a.m. in the morning because I'm here in Mountain Standard Time, I'm so motivated to get my day started. And usually people don't look forward to waking up in the morning when it's Monday, but I have an amazing team, an amazing group of people that I get to surround myself with, and I can't thank you guys enough. So um, that's pretty much it. Let's just make sure we again stay consistent, learn as much as we can, cut our losses short, and share best practices, help one another out to grow. If you can't do well that day, then if you have time and you're willing to put forth the effort, then you can make someone else's day by just shouting out different supports, resistance, and just stocks that you think have potential within our group, or answering some questions that can definitely help people out within our group chat. So again, if you guys would like to be a part of Technical Solutions, the link is provided for you down below. And if you have any questions or suggestions for helpful videos, or any videos or any question that you guys want me to elaborate on, please DM me through the GroupMe platform, which is where I'm most responsive. You can try to message me on a post on our Facebook platform, which is the link provided for you down below. And then if you guys want to follow me on my social media account or my Instagram, the link is provided for you down below as well. I'll try to post a link once this video goes live to my Milky Assets company. And then if you guys can give me feedback and email me at that email, then I'd appreciate that as well. So I really want to read about it, and then you'll see kind of what my mission is with that. If you have any questions or suggestions for what you would like us to incorporate into our TechBud Solutions platform that we'll be launching May 1st, please feel free to let me know. And if you guys would like to be part of our beta testers, which we're going to be talking about within 1 week, I believe, then go ahead and like the video. Then that would be great. If you guys can subscribe, we'd greatly appreciate it, like always. And I see all the thank yous. You're awesome. And 100 times back to you guys. You guys are amazing. I wouldn't be here, right, doing this without you guys. And I hope you guys have an amazing Sunday. Spend it doing what you love. If it's, learning, having fun, whatever it is, enjoy it, because, this week we're going to make it a great week. And it's great, right? Looking forward to Mondays is something very unheard of, but, we have 11,000 of us plus that look forward to Mondays, and it's super exciting. Thank you guys again. Have an amazing day and take care. Bye.